I'm gonna react to this Sneako is horrible video. Penguin Zero put out this video saying Sneako is horrible. I can't imagine why. All he did was rant about conspiracy theories. I don't know how I ran into Sneako's content online, but I did come across it fairly early in his current incarnation of his YouTube channel. I think it was because someone put out a YouTube video called like Sneako is the Kanye West of YouTube, which was some rather interesting foreshadowing. And that video blew up. It was basically a video essay explaining, the genius of Sneako's, former style of content, which was a lot more introspective and documentary in style. And he also did this thing called 1 minute podcast or 60-second podcast, something like that, where he would, interview random people on the subway for 60 seconds. It was very fascinating and interesting stuff. But then he started doing live streams where he was talking about conspiracy theories. And was saying things that lean into some sort of thing about an Illuminati or something running the world, some silly stuff like that. It was like interesting, but the problem is he was extremely blackpilled. This was my problem with Sneako, right? I remember like in one of his first lives, I was watching right here on the television, and he was, reacting to a Vice documentary about China and their surveillance systems. And he was all saying, oh, this is terrible. This is all going to happen in America. Everything they're doing in China is coming to America. First of all, there's no guarantee that that's the case. I wouldn't be surprised if many things that China is doing come to America, but we don't know that for sure. It's not guaranteed. So there should be no fear that like China is just going to be surveilling us the way they surveil their own countries. I feel like that's a bit paranoid. But the problem is he was basically saying that we need to move away from using banks at all, use like crypto or cash only. It was so extreme that I was wondering, is this lifestyle even like attainable? Is it possible? And if you can get into this lifestyle, what's the point? So I never understood the appeal of that, although the whole thing of like, these politicians are doing bad things is quite appealing because I don't like what the Chinese government does to its citizens. I just don't. So I did find that interesting, but it's hard because you agree with Sneako on one thing, but then in all of his implications and conclusions, he's just like going off the deep end. I don't understand it. He's an entertaining person to watch, but he just takes too many L's when he speaks, especially when he's in interviews, because Destiny has been having appearances with him, and he's absolutely crushing Sneako in every single conversation that he has. But still, Sneako still has his fans. Sneako still has his minions, and I don't understand it. But one thing that's kind of interesting is Penguin Zero, who one would probably not associate with the type of content that someone like Sneako does, who is very like red pilled, Andrew Tate adjacent. You wouldn't really associate those two types of characters together. But Penguin Zero, also known as Moist Critical, did do a video talking about how Sneako is bad or something. So I'd like to talk about it because I kind of agree, but I wonder if I agree with Moist Critical on the same points.
Last time I talked about you, I used you
#ad
for a merchandise push as well, so might as well stick with tradition. I bet just seeing me in this attire again has just sent you on a full-blown Winter Soldier episode with your eyes rolling into the back of your skull as you're experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder, because the first video I made on you offended you to such a high degree that you have not stopped whining since. It's already been 3 months. Can you believe that? How time flies.
I didn't even know this dude made a video about him. Granted, I do not watch Moist Critical as much as Chat does. I watch maybe 1 out of every 15 videos that he releases, give or take. I like Pyro Live a little bit better, just to be honest.
You started with me by insulting me and my girlfriend out of nowhere, so naturally I responded by making fun of you in return and showcasing
and his lack of girlfriend. To be fair, I think he almost was able to get into a relationship with just Pearly Things, but it just didn't really work out for whatever reason. I think he was just too abrasive and rude. If I had to make a guess, that'd be it.
The reasons why I don't respect you. But unfortunately, I failed to calculate just how much of a sensitive f***ing loser you are. Because this hurt your feelings to such a high degree, it's become like an Armageddon in your brain. 3 months, you have continued to melt down about this. The day after I posted my response, you went on stream and had a huge, unhinged tantrum and meltdown about the whole...
Yo! Why do we have normal people who are this entertaining? How come everyone who is silly, goofy, having like a fun time. How come they always seem to have like all of these like unhinged takes and like unhinged beliefs? Like Sneako like is such a fun personality while he's on stream. Like I would watch a streamer who's walking around slinging a BB gun in the air, pretending to smoke a cigar, like while dancing in his room in front of his PewDiePie chair. Like I would absolutely watch a streamer who does that until he starts talking about how like it starts being like sexist and talking about how all women are this way and all men are that way. We have to like objectify men and women and treat them like a certain way and put everyone in this box that's just like not healthy. Like it's crazy. It's like there's always someone who's like very like interesting and exciting to watch, but then you have to slow down and be like, oh, cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks, and it's so frustrating. Like Hassan Pikers is like very interesting to watch as well, but then either he treats people poorly in a way that just like makes it hard to like have respect for him, or just has like these like terrible, awful political takes, and then he has like this like insane hubris about his bad takes, and it's just like I wish that there were more entertaining people who had good takes because I feel like I'm constantly between a rock and a hard place of listening to someone who is interesting but has like terrible takes, or someone who is not particularly interesting, somewhat boring, but at least they're saying things that are true and good. It sucks. The left, honestly, and the extreme right as well, but kind of like the left is sort of just like taking over the space of like being entertaining on the internet, which sort of stinks. But hey, Steven Crowder's back. But even him I have problems with. I don't know. It's just sad in my opinion. I know I went on a rant. I know I got absolutely stun locked at 1 minute. Boy, it's gonna take me 30 minutes to get through this video. But it just annoys me. Like that there aren't more fun personalities who aren't cringe. It's just like, man.
3 months you have continued to melt down about this. The day after I posted my response, he went on stream and had a huge unhinged tantrum and meltdown about the whole thing, and then he sent some
Yo. If I got like a BB gun and started doing stupid dances like these, would you watch?
of his viewers over. So I was joking with them saying like, oh, you guys must have just stopped the cuties watch party over there at Sneako's stream, right? Welcome cucks, that kind of shit. And it got really under his skin in a big way. So he started dancing around with the gun and threatening to come shoot me. So he
Oh, well, that's not nearly as fun as I thought it was. That's not friendly dancing and jesting at all. That's not good, man.
kept saying, oh, you're in Tampa, right? I'll come see you, waving his gun around and dancing.
You want to watch my clips? Watch my clips. Watch my clips. You want me to watch your clips? Watch my clips.
I mean, is he being serious though? Because I've seen a fair amount of Sneako's content. He doesn't seem particularly upset or agitated or angry, but that's just me. Also, what's up with all these people on the right side of the screen? Like, hold on, I recognize some of these people, and a lot of them they're kind of sad and embarrassing.
These are the only clips I'm watching, you are?
Now, the reason he keeps saying watch my clips while threatening me here is because during this
Is he? I don't think he's legitimately threatening him. I don't know. Granted, there's no context here, and you would think that as the person who was apparently being threatened, he'd be the one to give the evidence that he was being threatened, but
stream, I couldn't watch him live because he just kept shouting slurs. So I said,
yo, well, there you have it. You can't blame Moisty for that then. You can't blame him for that.
watch my clips to see what I was saying about you. I had to communicate via Twitch clips. And I'm sorry to be that guy. This is like the grammar police of guns, but he's a fucking imbecile. You absolute buffoon. What you have there is not clips. These are mags. They're mags, not
Yo, dude's absolutely taking him down. See, here's the thing. Sneako is funny. Sneako is entertaining. He sometimes can be interesting to watch. But other than that, he's pretty cringe. Hey, it's sad, but it's true. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all that he was like, look at my clips, look at my clips, and he was actually holding Max, not clips.
Not clips, you absolute dummy. The same way that this is also.
Is that a real gun? Yo. What? Okay. Moist Critical is not someone I would have expected to own like a real gun, especially not a gun like that.
A mag. They're all mags. Stop saying clips. You look fucking stupid here. Anyway, sorry for the gun anatomy lesson. He was very upset, so he was threatening to come shoot me, beat me up, all of that, because I hurt his feelings, and it's been festering for quite some time now. 3 fucking months. You love to bitch about how everyone's canceling you. These soy boy NPC bots are all canceling you. It's all.
I would understand. I feel like that would be like very annoying. Like I'm pretty sure eventually, over the course of me creating YouTube content, I'm gonna get canceled 2 or 3 times at least. Pretty sure. But I think if you're gonna get canceled, like the best thing you could do is just like walk away. You know, there's no need to appeal to types of people who are not going to enjoy your content. Like it's just like, no, 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 no. I actually am a little bit woke. I actually am a little bit woke. I am a little bit kind of on like the mainstream agenda. Like, why would you say that if the type of content that you're making, you know, is just not completely aligned with that? So for Sneako to whine and complain to be like, oh, they're canceling me. Oh, it's so sad. Don't do that. Don't do that. It just makes you look like you're whining. And that does not make you look like an alpha male, which is like what Sneako certainly is not, but is what he's like trying to it's what he's trying to project. That's the image he's trying to portray.
You do. You treat the teenagers in your Discord like they're your goddamn therapist, just going in there to complain about the invisible boogeyman canceling you again, shaking your fist at the clouds. I also love that you treat this Discord server like it's your PR team, so you have them work on your responses on Twitter because you're not.
Yo, that's funny. That's like the girl who's like DMing the dude, but like needs all the other girls to tell her like what to say. It's like, quick, I need a response. How should I respond to my crush? That's like literally what Sneako's doing with Destiny right here. It's hilarious.
Not witty enough to come up with anything on your own. You have no ability to banter. You can't insult anyone. Anytime you're pushed, all you fall back on is one of 3 things: soy boy, bot, or NPC, and that's it. You never deviate from this path, which is ironic because you're like literally a sheep. You have 3 programmed responses. You're like the absolute worst character, side character in an MMO. It's pathetic.
The funny thing is, like, it's true, but like not all NPCs are like unfun to watch.
How did we get to this point? Well, I made that video about Sneako, and I fully planned on that being the only time I ever talked about this. I really did. All I wanted to do was highlight why I personally don't respect him. I know a lot of people criticize me for not tackling his points, and to that I say, bah humbug, this fucking goober didn't make any points. All he did was insult me and my girlfriend. He insulted me and my girlfriend because I made fun of one of his friend's blatantly fake stories. He resorted to childish name-calling like, I'm ugly, and I don't go outside. That's not making any points. Like, what am I supposed to debunk there? No, actually, my mom thinks I'm handsome, and so does my girlfriend, so you're wrong. Factually wrong. There's nothing to debunk. The whole point of the video was highlighting
True. Now somebody needs to get him the book of logical fallacies that I read as a kid, because that is an ad hominem attack. And unless you can find someone who's gullible enough to fall into your rhetorical traps, using logical fallacies is just not a winning strategy when it comes to rhetoric and actually like arguing with people.
I don't respect him. I'll go ahead and briefly give you a previously on Dragon Ball Z lore recap to bring you up to speed on the points I was making for why I think he is a pathetic piece of and his opinion holds no value in my eyes. Is because he publicly defends Cuties as one of his favorite movies. Cuties was a Netflix film that used real child actresses in sexual situations, so they sexualized real children.
I remember this.
A fact that Sneako himself acknowledges, but writes off as being okay because it's realistic, because in the real world children get sexualized. I'll say it again.
I feel like in general I remember him talking about that movie, and I didn't know he was a fan of the movie, but I thought he was saying that the point of the film was that the sexualization of children is bad and they were portraying the dangers of that in the movie. I could be wrong, and I'm not a Sneako apologist. I'm just saying I don't remember Sneako putting it quite like that. Now maybe he has a clip to share. He doesn't have a clip to share, or maybe he does. But I just don't recall that.
Regardless of what the intention of the film was, they missed the mark because what ended up happening is they sexualized the child actresses. That is a problem. Full stop. Even if the message was supposed to be the opposite, they still ended up contributing to the very problem they were speaking out against.
I saw Cuties last night, and it was pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I went in ready to hate like everybody else. I saw the cover.
Yo, this is Discord moderator activity. Dude. The fact that he said Cuties is an awesome movie and the fact that he runs a Discord server, I think are enough to kind of put him on an FBI watch list. I'm just gonna put that out there.
And I got clickbaited. So did you. You got clickbaited. The thing about Cuties is it's not an unrealistic film. Like, yes, it shows children in a sexual way, but this is not unusual now. And the people who are really...
I mean, that is true. I mean, now, granted, I don't think it's this... I mean, while, you know, that does happen on TikTok, on Twitter, I don't know if Cuties is necessarily comparable to TikTok or Twitter. It's not the same. We're talking about adults exploiting children versus children kind of being exploited by a culture that says that, you know, it's normal and healthy to be constantly sexualizing yourself. Two very different things.
really mad about this aren't Gen Z.
Imagine claiming children in sexual positions is clickbait. Yikes. That's rough. You admit that the children were sexualized. That is bad. Okay?
Yeah, the funniest thing is, like, thinking that through, he's saying that it was clickbait. So he clicked it because of what he thought it was, you know, it was baiting you with.
That means the movie failed in its mission. I don't know what you don't get about that. But regardless, I'm not here to just keep hammering home the same points. Another thing that I talked about for a reason I don't respect him is because he battles with his own sexuality. He is very public about how he used to go to these swinger parties. I think he says 4 in total over the course of like 2 weeks, where he watched his girlfriend get by other men. Even
I remember this. It was an old clip. He was talking about this on a podcast, and he was like, he enjoyed it. Yeah, that's a clip. Okay, I'm just gonna let the clip run because it's sad. This right here should have ended Sneako's entire career.
been telling the story of how he was literally in the bed watching his girl get by a different man, moaning intensely, and it was traumatizing. Yet he recommends that everyone should try it at some point for some reason.
Yeah, no, that it was traumatizing is kind of his cop out there. If you look at his body language, he seems pretty ashamed of the fact that he liked it. That's the impression that I got when I watched the clip.
Because this was imagine seeing the girl you love like get her. Yeah, I do. I love it. Yeah, I love her. I was about to say I love this bitch. I'm like, no, let me not say that. I love my wifey, my queen.
And you allowed the love of your life to get by another man.
What happened to the other three?
I'm crazy. The first time, as soon as I saw it, like 3 pumps in, I just got up and walked out. I'm just like, I can't do that. Like feeling traumatic thoughts, like seeing her with another person. It's a lot. But I think it's something everybody should do just to test. No! You know what?
So my point with this was,
The reactions are everything. I don't even have to say anything about that afterwards.
why is this the guy that's lecturing everyone on their relationships, shitting on people's relationships, when he himself is in one that makes him very upset and he can't come to terms with it? Now, if he's open about being a cuck and happy and proud to be a cuck, that's fine. But he's not. It makes him mad every single time. So why the is this insecure guy the one that's the moral authority on healthy relationships all of a sudden? That was the point of me bringing up that clip. Now, that was basically the whole video. I summed it up real quick. All I pointed out is I don't respect his opinion because he defends a movie I consider to be child porn. I think any film or any production that has real children being sexualized should be classified as child porn.
Correct.
That's how I view it. Maybe you're
Dude, rare based take. This guy's gonna get canceled for saying child porn is bad. Like, legit, high key, because of how like the culture is like moving. This is a brave take, and like good on him for kind of calling that out as something bad.
Definition's different, but that's how I personally view that kind of content. So him defending that was beyond reprehensible to me. And him being very public with his cuckoldry and how scarring it has been, it should be a lesson and an example that he himself is not great when it comes to relationships and all these things. And I posted that and it made him extremely upset and he hasn't stopped crying about it for 3 months. So fast forward to 2 days ago. I was streaming a Moist Esports tournament and I went up to go to the bathroom. I had to take a it was a double flusher, so I was on the toilet for quite some time, and I saw a Sneako post that he's posted quite a few times now, and I thought, you know what? F it. I'm not doing anything else right now on the porcelain throne. I'll play in the pig pen. So I did. For 3 months now, Sneako's had this adorable little collage that he made that looks like it's straight out of a 16-year-old girl's diary with pictures of boys from her class that she doesn't like. All about people that have hurt his feelings. This is his wall of shame for people that have insulted him online. What's even sadder about it is he purposely leaves out people that he's afraid of. So Turkey Tom, for
his Destiny on there, he's friends with Destiny. I guess Destiny hasn't hurt his feelings though. But Destiny absolutely destroys Sneako in every single conversation that he has.
For example, made a whole video talking about Sneako and how pathetic he is, and Sneako tried to talk a big game to him, even challenged him to a debate, which Turkey Tom accepted with jubilation. He was ecstatic. And then Sneako kept ducking him, ghosting him. So he leaves Turkey Tom off of this list because he's afraid to actually talk to him. And he also leaves off quite a few other people, but the most notable other one that is comical for the absence is Brandon Buckingham. Brandon Buckingham is an internet content creator that Sneako lied about for a long time, and they had a lot of beef. And Brandon Buckingham actually challenged him to a fight. And Sneako is very fearful of him. We'll get into that.
Yo, this reminds me of, Hassan Piker, being completely unwilling to punch someone he called a Nazi, despite having called for people to do the same thing on his own platform. Rather interesting. Yeah, no, this is very reminiscent of Hassan Piker refusing to fight Sam Hyde. It's very funny.
And we'll get into that more in depth in a moment, but I just need to set the stage a little bit here with this collage. So after seeing this for the 100th time in the last 3 months, I finally just said, holy shit, you pathetic, sensitive, soy little worm. I made fun of you for watching your girlfriend get by numerous other men and also insulted you for defending child porn. That's not cancellation. That's just spitting on you for being a pitiful, sad cuck. And this puppy really blew up on Twitter in a big way. Now, I will say it again. What I did and what I am doing right now is not canceling you, Sneako. I am insulting you. I am making fun of you. Something that you were supposed to be a huge proponent of, right?
Exactly. Now, I will say, cancel culture has kind of gotten out of hand. But to say that criticizing someone, honest, frank critique is the same thing as cancellation is just, abominable. It's false. It is an outright, abject, and bold-faced lie to say that, criticizing someone is the same as canceling them. Canceling them is like, you make everyone in the community shun them. Or you shun the individual yourself. It's not what's happening here. It's not what's happening here. All that's happening here is, Moist Critical is criticizing Sneako, and rightfully so. So, the difference between critique and cancellation really needs to be understood by more people. I have done plenty of critiques of individuals, and people said, oh, you canceled Daniel Lord. Oh, you helped us, cancel TNT Stevenson or whatever his name was. No, I didn't cancel him. I looked at the receipts that you guys gave me of all of his misdeeds, and I was like, well, this is sus. This is bad. And I kind of laughed at him and called it a day. It's not a cancellation. I know I removed Daniel Lord from my Discord, but that was literally just because he had, as a white person, used the N-word and refused to say it, which to me made me lose confidence that, he would never say it in my own Discord, even though he had said it in somebody else's Discord. But if he tried to pretend that it didn't happen, instead of admitting it and saying he was wrong and saying that he decided to change, then it would have been like, okay, sure, you're in, because you came up and you said, hey, I did this thing, I'm not going to do it again, then I can trust you to not do it in my own community. But if you're just gonna pretend it never happened, but then maybe continue to do it while people aren't looking, or while you're like in like DMs with other people, I don't want someone who's actively going to be using that language in my server. It's not a cancellation. I am just trying to protect my own community, because I just don't want to have people who use slurs in my Discord, right? So I'm not saying that you can't watch Daniel Lord's videos ever again, for example. If I was canceling him, that's what I would say. I would never say you can't give him money in over Venmo or PayPal. If I was canceling him, that's something I would say. I'm not saying, that you should go report his YouTube channel, because if I was trying to cancel him, that's what I would say. I'm specifically saying that as for me, I don't want him in my Discord. You can have him in your Discord. You can watch his YouTube videos. You can subscribe to his YouTube channel. I literally don't care. That's entirely different than canceling someone and saying that they should never associate with him. Completely different. So cancellation, for example, is what, right-wingers try to do against Target, because they're doing all like the whole like LGBT agenda stuff onto like the clothing items that they give out to their kids. That's a little bit different, because people are calling for boycotts and whatever. That is closer to cancellation than just saying, you know what, Target, I don't like what you did with the kids' clothes, and calling it a day. So two like very different things.
It wasn't like one of your big things like bullying needs to be brought back. So now that I'm making
oh, that's a good point there. It's a good point.
Fun of you, what all of a sudden now it's off limits, now it's canceling. You have become the SJWs that you criticize so much. I don't know how you don't realize that. We continue. He says, you know in your soul you would never say that to my face. To which I respond, you literally have a collage of people that hurt your feelings on the internet. You haven't stopped whining about me for months now, you goofy NPC. Even if you beat my ass in a fight, it doesn't change the truth. You're still a cuck who also defends child porn. I think this is
Yo, that's a good point that he called him an NPC. That must have really set him off.
It's important to talk about, and I just talked about it recently. When you are getting your feelings hurt and your immediate response isn't to fire back with insults, jokes, whatever, it's to challenge someone to a fight, you've taken a huge L.
Yeah, generally my response is to breathe deeply, because otherwise I will say something very stupid. Or laugh, because laughing makes the other person feel uncomfortable usually, especially if they're angry and being serious. One of those two things. Those are my key strats that always work all the time, 100% trademark copyright.
You've shown that the person has got under your skin, and the only thing you can resort to is a caveman brain of, I'll beat you in a fight. Sneako, you beating me in a fight doesn't unfuck your girlfriend from the numerous men that had sex with her in front of you. True. It doesn't do anything. Everything I've said still stands. Nothing changes. It doesn't even salvage your ego.
Yeah, so it's like a mixture of like it's like a red herring. It's using an ad hominem attack as a red herring. Very interesting, and that's a good catch by Moist. That's a good catch by Moist here.
All it is a pathetic f***ing attempt at attention. And I don't think you believe half the things you talk about. I really think Sneako just panders as much as possible. He himself doesn't even stand by the things he talks about. I really don't think he has any beliefs of his own. He just echoes what he thinks is going to get him the biggest audience / the most money.
Now, I wish this VOD was up, because he actually said this. He literally said that this was his plan. He literally said, like, Andrew Tate grew up. Andrew Tate grew and blew up by making this specific type of content, and screaming and shouting and being very energetic. I'm gonna copy his formula. Also blew up on TikTok, and make it big just like Andrew Tate did. Now, I don't think that plan includes going to jail in Romania, but we'll see. We'll see.
That's what I think. So this puffing out his chest of challenging me to a fight is clearly attention. That's what it feels like. Because you don't have the same energy for Brandon Buckingham. Brandon Buckingham is more than willing to fight you any day of the week. But with him, you don't want to do that for some reason. Why? Do you not stand by your beliefs when it comes to Brandon Buckingham? He has said all the same things about you that I am saying about you. So why is he exempt? Why don't you want to fight him? That's so weird. This is what you said about Brandon Buckingham and fighting him.
And then finally, when Brandon Buckingham is down to meet Sneako, he's there to box him. They're both similar sizes. Sneako would now rather just sit at home and tell jokes behind his computer.
I'd rather sit at home and yell at a camera, tell jokes than, risk my manhood falling flat for Brandon Buckingham, if I lose the fight.
So now it's...
That literally... that sounds like... The thing is, he's saying, like, oh, it'll make me... He's literally saying... If you're between the lines, what he's literally saying is, it'll make me look bad if I lose a fight to Brandon Buckingham. But what makes you look worse is running away from the fight rather than manning up and be like, okay, I'll take up I'll box you, right? Like if you look at two men boxing and one person loses, no one looks at the person who loses the fight and they're like, oh, what a whip, you lost the fight. No. People generally are like, you men, like you are two men. You manned up and decided to take on this fight head on. You took the risk of losing. Even if you lost, you gave it your all and you put in maximum effort. No one looks at you and you're like, oh, what a wimp, what a loser because you lost a boxing match. People lose boxing matches. There's like a 50% chance that you lose any boxing match you go into. Unless this is the WWE and that's a whole different conversation.
It's suddenly cool to just stay at home and keep it all online.
The full video here from Willie Mack is an absolute masterpiece on laying out every pathetic thing that Sneako has ever done, said, or everything ever. So I highly recommend checking it out. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's a banger. So as you can see, the people he's confident in fighting are ones that he feels confident he'd win against. I'm 5'6". I think he's 6'1". So the height advantage he feels very confident with. And he has every reason to. He would probably beat me in a fight. But like I said, that doesn't change anything. Everything I've said is still true. You are a cuck, self-admitted, and you have defended cuties publicly, which by more than just me, by many, is considered child porn. You're pathetic. Beating me in a fight doesn't change any of those facts. I've also been super vocal about how I don't want to fight. Like, I'm not afraid to say, like, I don't want to get hit in the head, right? Like, I'm afraid of taking headshots. That's probably a super normal fear to have. So yeah, I'm averse to going into a boxing match, especially one that's just a clout-driven spectacle like this. That'd be completely fucking worthless. And I've been super open about that, which I'm sure you know since you keep saying that you've watched my content. So you probably know that I was never going to accept the fight in the first place, especially since you're like significantly taller than me, right? Like it wouldn't make any...
The fact that they're completely different, like they would be in absolutely different weight classes, I would assume. So it doesn't even make sense for them to box. I think that, rock, paper, scissors makes better sense.
Sense. And even though you would probably beat me in a fight, you're certainly not beating me in like an aesthetic physique competition, because damn, I blow your ass out of the water. Look at this fucking anime character physique I'm rocking. Meanwhile, you're over here with that Abercrombie and Fitch from 1998.
Is that real?
Now, in Sneako's credit, he did start going to the gym recently. Maybe I inspired him, and you know what? That's great. I'm glad I could have a positive impact on your life like that, Sneako. Getting into the gym is a fantastic thing, and you're going to feel so much better. And I know you'll start seeing results soon as long as you keep at it. And then finally, our last exchange.
That was nice. That seemed like a genuine, encouragement of Sneako to get into the gym and work out.
Exchange goes very similarly to the others. You're not special from the other 10 soy boys who say the same thing. If you got a problem, stop talking on the internet. Let's solve it. So I said, got your Discord still working on responses? Brother, I have no problem. You started it and I made fun of you in return. You're upset about publicly admitting to cuckoldry and get mad at me for bringing it up. You should be mad at yourself instead. Have some self-reflection. Which it's true, I don't have a problem. You literally started it, Sneako, and you even asked your audience to let me know everything you said and send me your clips. You actually asked for a response, and then got super upset when my response was a little too mean to your feelings. How is that not the ultimate cuckoldry? Like, even more so than your girl getting clapped by 1,000 men. How? Like, how can you, with a straight face, still call other people soy boys? I'm not kidding. I really didn't want to keep talking about you, but you won't stop talking and crying about me. It's sad. I understand you have a humiliation fetish, so hopefully this whole thing has helped you orgasm one more time from all of it. I don't think it's fun dunking on you, Sneako. I don't. And I'm certainly not canceling you, but you you keep doing this. So you forced my hand to make fun of you again. But anyway, that's about it. See ya.
One problem is that when you do these response videos, and then like the response to the response videos, and then the response to the response to the response videos, and then you say, "Oh, I hate talking about this. I'm gonna do a response in like 2 days." Like, the problem with this is you get in a never-ending cycle of like drama, and if you're trying to get away from the drama, you have to stop engaging with the people who are being dramatic. And I know I've fallen into this trap myself. I've made 4 videos talking about the Cedarville University stabbing situation when I should have made maybe only 2. But he could have still talked about what Sneako said, but explained why using red herrings and ad hominem attacks doesn't make any sense in a rhetorical debate, for example. And then just use, his conversation with Sneako like as an example, rather than making the focus of the video Sneako. That's the only thing I would have changed. But it's still a great example of why it's so important to, like, if you're having conversation and you want it to be productive, because if you want it to be a mudslinging contest, some people enjoy playing in the dirt. So if you want to have a mudslinging contest, there are certain ways to make sure that that happens. But it's just more productive to just address the claims that are being made in a conversation and not letting things just go like back and forth all over the place, winding into all these like random and crazy cross sections, talking about things that aren't relevant to the original conversation. And I'm glad that Moist decided to keep everything like focused on the topic at hand. I think more people need to do this rhetorically. But yes, Nico's just like a sad case. It's a little unfortunate. I hope that he gets better because he's a genuinely funny person and I think a stellar content creator. So, hopefully he has a road to redemption. Maybe Sneako can convert him to not be like, so black pilled or red pilled. And he can, stop being so insecure.